waiting just a moment. So while we wait, why don't we do something constructive like breathing? We can start just breathing together and start to ground the energy together. And something I recently learned in terms of balancing the autonomic nervous system and coming into a place of balance, it is good to breathe in maybe to a count of 4, breathe out to a count of 7. So the exhalation is longer than the inhalation. So let's do that for just a minute or two.
Okay, Leo, you here?
Yes, we're
I
breathing.
had to go back here. Okay, is everybody in? I pray.
And the ones who aren't, well, hopefully you'll get in.
Yeah, because I admitted everybody. So
then
participants are 10. As everybody just give us a little heads up that you're in. I see everybody is muted.
Erica, Jackie, Emily, beautiful. Melissa, Chrissy.
Oh, good. Okay, so I wish somebody would just, guys, are you hearing this?
Well, Phyllis was.
Yes, thank you. This is Erica.
Okay, I'm glad you, okay, it's a go, yay.
Thank you, wonderful.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's okay. Well, this is Mars in retrograde, right?
Is it? Oh, is that because it feels like Mercury in retrograde? It's so crazy.
That's because Mars is in one of the signs of Mercury, Gemini. And Mars in Gemini retrograde feels like a double Mercury in retrograde.
Aha.
Mercury in retrograde, for those who don't know that term, Mercury in retro, or have heard it and maybe don't know the whole meaning, when 3 times a year the planet Mercury goes into retrograde for about 3 weeks. Now it really doesn't go backwards, it just appears from our view from Earth, it appears to go backwards, but it does have an effect just because it appears to go backward to us. And that effect is that things are generally slower, confusion with communication, travel, all sorts of glitches can happen. Generally recommended not to sign contracts, not to, start new things when Mercury is in retrograde, only because we're not seeing clearly. Things are obscured, things aren't clear. The whole point of Mercury in retrograde is to revise, to redo, to revisit. And if we use that 3 weeks, 3 times a year to do that, then we use the energy well. Otherwise, if we keep trying to push forward and get more done and more done, then we wind up feeling very frustrated. So that's how many of us could be feeling now with Mars in Gemini retrograde. And it's been retrograde since October 30th. So over a month now. And notice how this last month has felt. So in a day, tomorrow at 11:07 p.m. here on the East Coast, we are having a full moon in Gemini at 16 degrees. So that is the focus of our time together. Each time we get together, there's a focus on the full moon or the new moon, whatever cycle we're in. And we're now approaching this full moon. Very, full moons are intense anyway, just because that's the fullest impact of the emotional energy of that month. It's building, building, building from the new moon 2 weeks ago to the full moon, which is the culmination. And then the next 2 weeks is going back down to the new moon. So on this day before the full moon, what is it that feels essential to understand about this full moon? because full moons tend to exaggerate our feelings. They tend to amplify. We all know, lunatics, the full moon, everybody gets a little crazy. Well, this full moon at 16 degrees Gemini, and of course, then the sun is opposed at 16 degrees Sagittarius, always with a full moon. The sun and moon are opposed, and with a new moon, they're together. So as well as the moon being at 16 degrees of Gemini, we have Mars in Gemini retrograde right next to it at 16 degrees. That's an exact conjunction. Now, whenever we have an exact aspect, in this case, this conjunction, what does it do? It amplifies, it magnifies, it intensifies the experience, because the moon, the full moon, is big feelings on its own. And then you add Mars into the equation. Well, what is Mars? Mars is the planet of energy, of gumption, of ambition, of drive, of sex, of passion, of desire, raw desire. Mars is our planet, is our masculine energy. It's the planet that says, this is what I want, and I'm going for it. So imagine this Mars planet in retrograde. Now, whoa, what's happening? Mars is used to just going and doing whatever he wants. In retrograde, not so much. He's thwarted. He's feeling stilted. He's feeling like obstacles are in the way of what? In Gemini, it's our communication. It's our thinking. It's our daily activity. Gemini is the sign that rules our siblings, our neighbors, our day-to-day life, even our day-to-day thinking. So we could be, Mars in Gemini retrograde is enhancing our thinking. And last time I was on, I spoke about this to really make space to look at our thinking during this time, because Mars in Gemini, that action planet in Gemini, the thinking, also our daily habits, what we do, where retrograde, we need to look at our own thinking. And if we're not, if we're paying attention to him and her and reacting to it or they, then we are in trouble, because this Mars energy, it feels frustrated. It's not able to function freely. So there's an inner frustration that just is there. And the more we try to do, and Mars likes to do, sometimes the worse it is. Now, I know a lot of people are very busy during this time because Mars in Gemini is busy. In fact, can be too busy. It can be a completely like diversionary experience. We're looking at this, we're not paying attention, we're not focusing on what is most important. And that's really the point here that I want to emphasize. Without bringing the intention of focus and really like paying attention to where our awareness is, we will be all over the place with Mars, Gemini retrograde. And now with this new moon, with this full moon, it just feels bigger. It feels more frustrating, more aggravating. And honestly, the tendency, there's also a square with Neptune involved. Now that square with Neptune can be problematic. And the problem can be is that we don't see clearly. We hear something, we react, we think that someone said something and they meant this, but they really didn't. Or we get information and it's incomplete and we react based on that. So there's a lot of fogginess with this square, with this Neptune square. Neptune squares tend to delude and deceive and like create fogs. And we have to understand that we're not seeing clearly during this time. And that is really important to realize, because we could be making very like impulsive decisions. This is the end. I won't do this. No, you're never, and blah blah blah, and like a real whew, because it's a bristly time. But we have to realize that we may not have all the information. So check information, number one. And this opposition, always with a full moon, as I said, the moon and the sun are opposed. What are oppositions? Oppositions are two energies in the heavens and in ourselves that are literally opposed. One has one agenda, one has another, and they do not match. They're going in opposite directions. And often with full moons and oppositions, another person, there's something outside of ourselves that triggers the feeling, that triggers the reaction. So pay attention. Again, we continue, right? We've been paying attention to triggers for quite a while these months, and will continue as long as the South Node is in Scorpio until next July. These triggers are coming up. The South Node is the past, is the old stuff, is old memories, old patterns that are popping up for us to clarify and heal. So this is a healing time. If we don't think of it as a healing time, it will be a warring time. Warring. Mars is the planet of war. And next to a full moon in Gemini, where feelings are so like, boo, boo, boo. Gemini is a very rapid fire sign. It's in the moment, it reacts in the moment. It doesn't sit and deliberate like Capricorn for months. And, maybe I'll talk to you about it at some point, or ignore it, maybe like the sign of Pisces. No, it really like is in there. So this is the waters of the moment. The waters of these next few days are going to be choppy, very, very choppy. Emotions are going to be flaring. We're going to feel extra frustration, perhaps. Now, if you don't, wonderful. I don't decree this for everyone, but this is the weather. And then there is that Neptunian thing. So, for example, let's come to the sun. Someone has a belief. I believe this, and you are wrong, wrong, wrong. And we react. Oh, wait a minute. This is how I believe. What do you mean I'm wrong, wrong, wrong? And then there's a little defensiveness there. And then that Neptune square, it creates this feeling of no solid ground. So the more we get into it, the more it frays, the worse it gets. There's very little resolution at this time with those kind of conflicts and arguments. So avoid conflicts, avoid arguments. If you have to speak your truth, then speak it from a place of power. There's a beautiful aspect in the heavens at this full moon, and it has to do with our personal power. It's Pluto in Capricorn at 26 degrees and opposing Pallas Athene and Ceres at 26 degrees. Let me just make sure it is Ceres and not the other one. 26 degrees. Yeah. So there is an extraordinary, oh no, sorry. It's Black Moon Lilith. Okay, so it's Pallas Athene and Black Moon Lilith. These are the feminine asteroids that we've spoken about in the past. These are the asteroids that have been discovered in the last 20, 30 years, the last 10 years. Many of them have been named for feminine goddesses, female goddesses, to kind of help balance the incredible imbalance in astrology, in traditional astrology, where most of the planets are male. I think 8, in fact, out of the 10 are male. And then there's the moon, who is a luminary. and then Venus, who is the goddess. So I give asteroids a lot of credence. There's a lot of research on asteroids, on what the meaning, what the energy of these asteroids are. So we have Pallas Athene in Cancer, the sign of the moon, the sign of the great mother, of the feminine, at 26 degrees. And we have Black Moon Lilith right next to her at 26 degrees. So this is an exact opposition and an exact conjunction. As I mentioned, any aspects that are exact have extra power. So we can see at this full moon, we have extra power in several places, which just keeps amping up this time. So in this instance, we have Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto, the planet of power, planet of death, rebirth, in Capricorn. Pluto in Capricorn is very much the power, the external power, the power on top, right? The police, the government, the people that we have to, pay homage to or heed. We have to heed laws, that kind of thing. But as we know, on the planet, things are very much out of balance, and the power also is out of balance. The wealthy have too much. The people in power tend to be more autocratic these days in countries where they weren't just 10 years ago. So we've been seeing with Pluto in Capricorn, I think that's how Donald Trump got in, this autocratic, dictator energy that's been prominent with Pluto in Capricorn. So I've been talking about taking the power back, really realizing that reclaiming our power, what does that even mean? Knowing that we are our own authority, ultimately, that we know best. Yes, we can take counsel from authorities outside of ourselves, but our decisions need to come from the outside whatevers and our own inner knowing. And that inner knowing needs to take precedent. That is really the key to restore the balance at this time, because there is the truth of who we are knows where we need to be, knows what we need to be doing, knows everything for us. And the more we practice, the more we create the atmosphere for this connection with this knowing, through meditation, through breathing, through Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, walking, meditating, praying, singing, chanting, being in nature. The more we do that, the quicker this new paradigm will come into being. There really is kind of a war happening, this war between those who want to control things and this inner impulse of, no, I will not give in. I will not lay down. I must be free. I must be free. And this setup between Pluto and Pallas Athene and Black Moon Lilith, these two powerful female archetypes, what they say is the access to our power is so prominent now if we do what? Feel. Number one, that's the sign of Cancer. It is a very deep, deep, deep feeling sign. So deep that most Cancer people I know, people with the sun sign in Cancer, are, very, very sensitive, and they're protective because they're so exquisitely sensitive. But now it's time with these two powerhouses in the sign of Cancer at 26 degrees, the latter degree. These are really powerful degrees too, the latter degrees. And then opposing Pluto, wow, we have the opportunity literally to reach and take that power and say, this is mine. How does Pallas Athene do it? she does it through this wonderful alchemy of intuition and like strategy. She's sharp. She's wise. She's intelligent, but she's just not intelligence. She has body wisdom, deep intuition. So she has this rare, gorgeous combination of both. And in Cancer, there is really the opportunity of connecting to the source of our being, the source of our power, the source of our love. Even ancestors, Cancer, Capricorn, the Cancer, Capricorn axis is the axis of ancestors, family. So it is a time to also connect to ancestors, the ones we want to. Be precise in our intention setting. If we want to connect with ancestors, maybe we want to connect with only the ancestors that care deeply for us and have our well-being, very much at heart, rather than ancestors who may be problematic. So we just specifically say, I open to the ancestors that are here to help, here to guide, to protect, who love me. And open up to even the ancestors, the lineage of ancestors that we've never met, that we haven't heard stories of. They're all part of us. And during this time, there's like a doorway. The way I see this aspect is we have this special doorway where, if we are willing to use our intuition and our keen intelligence and feel, combined with the Black Moon Lilith, who will not give up her wildness, who determines that I will not give this up. I will not give my wild essence nature. I will not let anyone try to box it in or push it down. The Black Moon Lilith, when we honor her primordial wisdom and power, then she fills us with this like indomitable courage, an indomitable feeling of, yes, of course we can do this. Of course we can do this. So this full moon, let us consider that. What is it? What is it that we need to reclaim? Really think about it. Think about where we've given our power away, even subtly. Take it back. We can do this energetically. We can actually take the strands that are like out and pull them back. And if we want to send them out at any time, we can temporarily. Good to have our full power at all times, and then to choose when to send out those cords of love and healing and connection and pull them back. This is a good boundary. This is a good way of creating and practicing boundaries, which I think so many of us need to do. I don't know about you, but I was never taught as a child that, you have certain things that are just yours, and you have a right to say, no, this isn't for you, and this is my boundary. Although I did meet a 5-year-old girl last year who let me know she had a boundary when I put my hand on her shoulder. And she said, I don't really want you to touch me. And I thought, wow, good for you. So it is important, and so much to learn from our beautiful children on earth these days. So that's a way of using this energy. We need to harness this energy at this time, because this energy can be very destructive and unwieldy. There's Mars full moon, exact degree in Gemini, Gemini is one of those signs that goes this way or that way, this way and that way. And it's a very like a unstable sign when it comes to a full moon. The emotions are shaky. We can be shaky. Other people can be shaky. So pull it in, look within, reclaim our power, look at where we need to do that. And also look at what is important now and why. This is a good Mars retrograde, Gemini retrograde question. What is important to me now and why? You may find that what is important to you now doesn't hold up under the why. Why is it important? Is it important because I was taught it should be important? So this is the kind of deeper excavation that I would suggest we do using that energy. Also get physical. Get physical. This T square with Neptune at the head, the focal planet, its opposite is beautiful Virgo. It's the sign of Virgo, and the Virgo energy is body mind. Virgo energy is very much like Pallas Athene, who has that keen intellect and also has that body wisdom. So let's get physical during this time. I've been taking an online Qigong course. And many of you maybe have heard of it, Holden Qigong, and I really love it. It's 7 minutes a day. And yesterday we did shaking of the arms, shaking and bouncing, the heels bouncing. And that shaking energy felt so good during this Mars, because things can feel tight. Things can get tense very easily. So breathing, shaking, dancing, even like toning or just sounding, just letting that kind of excess energy. This is going to be a time of excess physical Mars energy and also excess mental energy. That's Gemini. So shake it out. And also, again, that, yoga, the word yoga, I very much associate with the sign of Virgo. And yoga is literally to yoke, to unite the body and the mind and the soul. So whatever we can do that does that, that connects us, whatever your favorite things to do, walk in nature. I know playing with my puppy these days is having such a therapeutic effect. I can't believe it. I mean, I just laugh and delight like throughout the day. And that helps to keep me out of my mind. Because I noticed with this Mars retrograde, there's like a regurgitation. I don't know if you're noticing it. Certain themes that maybe are unresolved, they just keep like playing in the background. Like, it's like annoying. Like,
Yes.
Good. I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to know that I'm not alone, and maybe all of you, many of you are feeling that. So be aware of that. Be aware and write it down. Get it out from the mind. Whatever we can do. I even recommend writing or speaking at the beginning of each day. Write what you're pissed off about. Speak out loud what you're annoyed with. Just get it out. And then focus. What's my intention for this day? What is important to me? What are the actions that I'm going to do this day that support that? Because what I've been noticing too is it's very easy. The whole day goes by and I think, what did I do today? Like, what the heck did I do? I listened to a podcast. I looked on Facebook. Oh, I checked my emails. It's like this constant like, and it just feels endless and very like unsatisfying. So be aware of that kind of tendency with this Mars and Gemini retrograde, and to just pay attention. We don't need to, no beating up, no self-flagellation. We've all given that up, right? Right? We've all given that up. We just notice it, and we ask ourselves, what is a better choice? What is a better choice that I can make in this moment? Gentle, loving. I mean, really staying in the heart as well, because this energy is edgy. This energy is zippy. It can go through quick. We stay in the heart if we keep breathing into the heart and setting the intention to be of benefit. Now, 20, 30 years ago, I asked one of my spiritual teachers, like, what should I pay attention to every day? And one of the things he said was, pay attention, ask to be of benefit and not harm. So every day I start off my day by saying, may I be of benefit. May everyone I meet, may I be of benefit and not harm. Now, the not harm part is an important part with this Mars full moon. Is the tendency is going to be to strike out. Okay, so understand that that's just it. And then if we breathe in and say, oh, no. I'm going to make another choice. That is actually the superpower of the sign of Gemini. And Mars, when you give Mars a job, he is so happy. He's not like, oh, he's miserable right now in Gemini retrograde because he doesn't have a real purpose. He's just kind of like flipping around, meandering, kind of lost. So we give him a purpose. We say, hey, this is what we are focusing on today, to be of benefit and not harm. Mars says, great, I can do that. I can do that. Also, may I have compassion for all beings, including myself. Mars says, all right, I'm not used to the compassion part. Understand Mars is the god of war. But you know what? If you're telling me that, then I'm curious. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try it on. And that's another benefit of Mars in Gemini. It's a curious placement. So we can be curious. We can be like even childlike. We can use this energy. If you can be around children during this time, fantastic. Or animals, of course. What are some other things I want to say before? Just be aware that with Neptune involved in this full moon, there's really two directions that we can go. So again, the choice is the superpower. What do we want to choose? Neptune in Pisces, in its fullest magnificence, is spirit, is the spirit world. It's creativity, it's inspired creativity, it's dreams, it's love, it's compassion, it's living in a state of oneness, really knowing our oneness. It's experiential. There is nothing more divine than Neptune in its own sign of Pisces, which is where it is, and will be for 14 years, because that's how long Neptune stays in a sign. It's a slow moving outer planet. So the high road with Neptune, we contemplate thoughts of love, of compassion. We do beautiful acts of love and kindness. We pray and wish others health and good things. We really care when Neptune is in Pisces. Also, we can cultivate our creativity. We can cultivate our intuition during this time. Very, very good to do that. We can really know a beautiful place of peace a live peace, not a dead peace, not a, but of a fullness, an aliveness, a spiritual vitality with Neptune in Pisces by setting the conditions for that to happen. So again, breath work, meditation, creativity, love, inspirational music, art. Often looking at art can put us in. I know a few that can go right into that transcendental state. It's a beautiful place to be right now, because that is our true nature. It is our true essence, and it is good to be there. So that is a way to go. That's an energy. The energy can take us there if we choose, or the shadow of Neptune. The shadow of Neptune, as I said before, is that fogginess, that delusion, that gaslighting. Yeah, wait a minute, you said this, but you meant this. And, it's that murkiness, that underwater foggy stuff. But it's also active delusion and escapism and illusion and addiction. So we have to watch, because with the energy so powerful, it is easy to check out, right? It's easy to just say, I'm going to watch Netflix, for the next 3 days and I'm good. But we miss such an opportunity if we do that. So I don't recommend that, but do be aware of that being the other pathway. It may not be a choice, but if we can keep awareness, if we notice it, then we can make a choice. And we can choose to escape for 2 hours or 3 hours or 4. But I wouldn't do more than that at a time, only because, again, these energies are tricky and we want to stay present, mindful. We want to stay awake. We're spiritual warriors on this call, where, we're in it. We're in it for what it is, for what this time is, the fullness of it, the paradoxical nature of it. Just if we can hold it all. And full moons really ask us to hold it all, because we've got the polarity in its extreme with the full moon. So watch for beliefs, watch for badgering people with beliefs. That's the sun in Sagittarius. We don't want to do that. But these are tendencies that we could notice, or someone else badgering you with their beliefs. Understand that this is a time of adjustment. We've got so many squares in the heavens at this full moon. Squares are challenging aspects, 90 degrees between planets, that require an adjustment. They're not comfortable with each other. They don't get along. They're not in alignment. They don't flow easily. So we have to kind of make adjustments. And what better way of making adjustments than through active choice, right? To choose, this is what I want to do. Excuse me. I realize it's so foggy, sorry. I realize my picture is very, very foggy, so I'm sorry about that. So we just be aware that that is in the air, and excess also is in the air. Whenever you have the beautiful goddess Venus, she's in a late degree of Sagittarius, squaring the planet of abundance, Jupiter, planet that magnifies. Jupiter is the last degree of Pisces, the last degree. It's not only the last degree of Pisces, it's the last degree of the entire zodiacal wheel. Starting with 0 degrees of Aries. We go through the 12 signs, 30 degrees each sign, and we end at 29 degrees of Pisces. So there's an ending. So watch for excess whenever Jupiter and Venus square. We could eat too much. We could just do too much of something. And it's usually something pleasurable, Venus, something enjoyable, something of the senses. So just be mindful of that. But the key here with this full moon, as we bring together all of what we've looked at here, is that this is really a preparation, a time of endings, a time of clarifying what now is important and why, a time of taking back up our power. We are preparing. We are preparing for huge, huge changes. Now, those changes are going to start. And I'm so excited to tell you this because, I've wanted to share some good news for a while. So starting on January 12th, let me make sure. I don't want to misdirect you. No, January 22nd. January 12th, Mars will be going direct. We'll be stationing and going direct. So that's a beautiful thing. On January 12th, Mars, the planet of action, of gumption, of bravery, of courage, of war, of all of it, is going in the direction that he wants to go in, which is forward. So we are now, this is a period of preparation. 10 days later, on January 22nd, all the planets will be direct. That's very unusual. There's only a few months in a year, if at all, that all the planets are direct together. And now we have them from January 22nd to April 11th. All right, so we've got a couple of solid months. What does this mean? Basically, the cosmos is giving us the green light to finally go ahead. You may go now. You have waited long enough. You have been patient, wait long enough. You have been needing to do the inner work and focusing on, that more in the last 3 years. And now we're coming to an end. We're coming to the end of this cycle. So once those planets all go direct, January 22nd, we have several months where whatever our projects are, whatever our desires, whatever we want to get done, we do it. We do it. There is like this cosmic grace when all the planets are direct. Whew, there's the wind beneath our sails. The obstacles are taken away. And what we want to accomplish, we have much more ability to succeed. So that is a beautiful thing. But for now, as we head in, I'm very mindful that we're heading into the solstice, the winter solstice season. In fact, we're in it. We're in the winter solstice season. The winter solstice is on December 21st, and the new moon in Capricorn will be 2 days after. So as we approach December 21st, and now the light every day has been less and less and less and less and less. On December 21st, the light is as little as it's going to be. And then December 22nd, a little bit more. And then we continue until the summer solstice, June 21st. And then the light begins to reduce again. So as we're heading into the dark, really the deep darkness, I think it's very, very important for us to remember that we're preparing. There's something I think about, like what a family does before the baby is born, with the mom and dad and the aunts and the preparation, right, of the nursery, of the space, everything ready. It's like that. There's a preparation that we are making for a new birth. And that birth is within us. We are preparing that space for our own rebirth. So now is the time. Whatever doesn't belong, whatever habits, whatever patterns, whatever beliefs, whatever relationships that do not serve our life, that are not for our benefit, now is the time to let them go. Because we do not want to be encumbered when January comes, when January 22nd comes. We don't want to be encumbered with these past things that don't belong anymore, right? These albatrosses that keep us from being who we really are, from being the fullness of our authentic, free self. So I want us to really think about freedom for the next few weeks. And just think about it. What is it that keeps us not free? How is it that we wish to be free? Imagine what freedom looks like. And of course, I'm talking about the inner freedom, right? Because we're lucky enough to live in the United States that still has, a basic sense of freedom, and much better than many, many countries. So, but this is really the inner freedom, right? This is the freedom of mind, the freedom of being able to walk this earth without being triggered, without feeling vulnerable to people's opinions, to people's words, to what's happening here, what's happening there, to really be free. And of course, we are going to feel and we're going to respond to the world and to others, but we do it from a place of utter freedom. Maybe there are people you've met that exude that experience of freedom. I know the Dalai Lama is one. For those who have met him in person, you know what it's like to be with this being who is beyond the beyond, and that inner freedom, it really radiates out. And we all feel good. We all feel free. We all feel alive in that atmosphere. We're being called to that inner freedom. And it can happen in a moment. It can happen, the slant of the sun's rays coming through, the appearance of a fox in the snow, the laughter of a loved one, the voice of someone on the phone we haven't heard from in a while who we love. Anything can wake us up. Anything can provide that impetus for freedom. It is a huge time we're in. And the understanding of what it is to be a human being, to be a divine being in a human experience, because that's what human beings are. Actually, even more. I honestly feel like our understanding of who we are is so limited. And in the next few years, the transits that are coming up, I think we're going to be blown away by who we really are and what we're really connected to, the kind of cosmic connections, the cosmic consciousness, perhaps the reasons, understanding why we're even here, really getting clear on where we came from and what we decided before we got here, and owning that, and owning our ancestry in all the ways that it comes, our human ancestry, our cosmic ancestry, our spiritual ancestry, our chosen family ancestry. The point is, we are in the place of power. And from there, we create our world. So knowing that, making that choice to create moment by moment these choices to be of benefit, not to harm. When a word can so easily slip out that we know will have a harmful effect, and we hold back and we just choose not to, that is reclaiming power. So many ways we reclaim power. So let this be like beautiful experiment over the next few weeks. Gemini loves experiments. Gemini has this kind of scientific mind, like, ooh, let's find out if we do this and we do this, what will happen? So there's that lovely freshness that we can bring to each day as we finish up the old, we complete this old cycle, make space for grief, make space for the deep feelings. With Jupiter at the last degree of Pisces, we could be feeling a collective grief beyond the personal. And what I was taught was a beautiful way of just taking and sending when we feel that grief. Just connect. If we can remember, this is probably the collective grief that Lee was talking about with Jupiter at 29 degrees of Pisces, the last degree of the entire 360-degree zodiacal wheel. So we are getting ready to start a whole new cycle, just a fresh, new, like, let's grow in this way. And we get to determine how we wish to grow. We get to determine it for ourselves and for our loved ones and for our community and for our world at large. So make space for the grief, make space for the deep feelings, let the tears fall, let go of the stories. Really, if possible, let go of the stories. We're clearing up so much old stuff. If we pay attention to all the stories, we'll be doing this for a long time. And we really want to get done with this by by January 22nd. No pressure. Just let's see this period of time as a finishing up, a clearing up, a setting new intention, and a preparing for what's to come, which truly can be seen as a very new world. So imagine, dream, use that 29th degree to really imagine the world that we want and hold that deeply in our heart, share it with one another, and empower these visions, these desires, these intentions, these sacred aspirations that create the world. It's time, and we've got the power. We got the power. My God, I'm sweating. You know, this Mars energy, whew, there's a fire burning. And I just pray and I wish, the idea of praying, I have to say, I just want to kind of end with the idea of praying. Because so many of us were brought up with this idea of praying. And praying has been important to me in my life, raised as a Roman Catholic and then Tibetan Buddhist. But what I'm feeling is, as the 2000-year age of Pisces is passing away, that way of praying, that supplicating, please may I, la la la, please do this for me. Oh, may you, da 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 da. It's not really in harmony with the energy, because it fosters this belief that there's something outside of ourselves that, you know, somehow is going to give it to us or do it for us. And as Gandhi so beautifully said, we are the change that we are waiting for, that we are looking for. So important to consider as we pray that the prayers are actually aspiration prayers. And certainly we can pray to our spirit council for guidance and help and protection, of course. But that prayer of like, do it for me, do this for me, give this to me. I don't see that as holding much weight anymore. And now to harness the energy and know we are co-creating. So setting clear intentions, aspirations of what we want, of how we wish to be, of what we want the world to look like. That is powerful work right now. And, try not to pay attention to the news too much because it's very unsettling. And we need we need to harness again, this power, this energy. So we do listen, maybe do it like my friend Jerry Kavaznika used to do it, my friend from Colorado, who would listen to the radio and hear the world news, all the places in the world that had war and famine and fire and flood. And one day I said, Jerry, why are you listening to all of this? And he said, oh no, I just know where to send the healing. I know now exactly where to focus the love and to focus the healing. So I think that's such a beautiful way of processing and working with the news when we do listen or watch. I'm just feeling a deep gratitude for all of you that have taken your precious time and learned the astrology, at least the way I see it and the way I've studied it and learned it, and to use these beautiful planetary energies so that we can continue to grow in the ways that we wish to and be of benefit. So my gratitude for all of you to co-create this space together. I could not do this without you. Each and every one of you is vital, not only in this podcast, but on the planet right now. I don't think you know how valuable and vital you each are. And that's my aspiration for all of us to know that more fully in the next few weeks. And such gratitude. So I have no idea what time it is. If it's time, then maybe we say goodbye. If not, if anyone feels that they need to say, it's 5:33. Okay, we have 3 minutes.
Whatever you want. It's your show, Lee.
If anyone wants to share anything related to what I said or didn't say.
I want to say one thing, that everything you said was so spot on to every detail of all of these things being stirred up, the past coming, the really, everything was just so exactly precise. And so thank you, because I think it makes me, and I'm sure the collective, not feel so alone.
Beautiful.
So thank you, Lee, always.
Thank you. Yes, we are not alone in these energies. Please know that. And I think astrology can really help with that. So I'm going to just open the space for 1 minute. And if there's no one who wants to share, and I'm opening it to anyone who feels the desire to offer in words, then let's just our energy for the last minute together, just hold the space together in this beautiful, powerful, ripening full moon. We're a little more than 1 day away from this powerful full moon. So together, let's just own the power of this full moon. Own every planet, in every sign. Own it. We are big enough for all of it. And when the heart is beating so rapidly and you don't maybe feel like you can hold it all, that's a good time to just shake and shake it out and shake it loose. So much love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. See you around the solstice. See you for the new moon. And until then, really, let's hold each other in this energy circle during this time. Let's support each other just in our hearts. Let's do that, to hold each other so that we get through this in a good way and we grow in a good way and everyone harnesses the power and the energies in a good way. Amen, amen, amen. All right. Bye for now. Love you. Thank you. Mwah.
Love you.